Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Discord, we got Josh.
Hey,
We got to talk about Clash in Paris. We obviously previewed it last week. Now we are going to look at those results. First match up was Roman Reigns. He was going against Bronson Reed. He wanted his shoes back. He wanted to get a win over the Vision. He got what he wanted, but he got a little bit more than he wanted as well.
a way to get him off television for a little bit while furthering the story overall, as well as just straight up making Bronson. It made Bronson Reed look really good, by the way.
Mhm.
That was a really pretty good match. But it made Braun Breaker a megastar, I think. I think it's doing exactly what we were said this needs to do.
Yeah, I think the reports I've seen already, Cody Rhodes is filming the Street Fighter film in Sydney, and then straight after this match, Roman Reigns went out and joined him. I don't know how long the filming schedule is, but that's obviously why we're writing Roman off for a little while, presumably be back for Survivor Series. So it could be, a month off filming before he comes on back. I think I'll talk a little bit more about the Jey Uso involvement and such once we talk about the main event, because I think that's going to sort of feed into everything. We kind of had like a three-match storyline here with this opening match, with the Intercontinental title match, and then with the main event, and that continued off onto Raw as well. But I think you're right. Bronson Reed, it's similarly to when he, did 20 odd tsunamis and absolutely destroyed Rollins. It looks cool. He might not pick up the win. We didn't think he was necessarily going to beat Roman Reigns, but he still looked good. And if anything, now you want to see Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns one-on-one. You already did, but now you really want to see it.
Yeah, they've given us a reason to want that match. And so I think that match has to happen before we get Braun Breaker splitting off from the group.
Mhm.
I think that has to happen probably, if I had to guess, probably Crown Jewel. That'll probably be when Roman returns, and that then sets up War Games.
Yeah. I think there's a few things, right? And I can't tell which one is the ultimate payoff, which one we're going to see at WrestleMania as that big match. CM Punk obviously wants his hands on Seth Rollins. Not crazy to think it might stretch out another 6 months, but WrestleMania is still half a year away. Whereas Roman Reigns has slowly been building this. He's been a bit more outskirty, a little bit less directly involved than CM Punk. He's having matches with Bronson. And I could see Braun Breaker as another one of those, you've got to beat him before you get to Rollins. Again, don't know if it's going to be a 6 month storyline, but those feel like the big contenders, the three of them that had their triple threat this year
Please,
at WrestleMania.
please, no. The the World
Anyone
Championship
else?
match. Yeah, no, the World Championship match is going to be Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins.
You are committed to it.
I'm committed to Braun Breaker winning the Rumble and challenging Seth Rollins for the World Championship.
You've been right with before when you've called it, months in advance, the Rumble winner and the main event of WrestleMania. So I have no reason to doubt your pick here. But let's wait and see how they all spin this off, especially through Survivor Series. That feels like the short-term build, but we'll talk more about that. No, we'll talk about that now. Let's go now. Let's go into the Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella Intercontinental Championship match. 13 minutes, Becky Lynch comes out on top and keeps a hold of that Intercontinental Championship.
Much to the surprise of no one. I think it was a decent match. It probably went a little too long, because I think Nikki was gassed by the end of it. But I think it was fine for what it was what it needed to be.
Yeah, I think it was, give Nikki a little bit of a spotlight, give Becky Lynch another challenger whose name isn't Lyra Valkyria, and give us a little bit of something to do. I liked this pay-per-view sort of pacing the whole way through, in that we had, 6 matches. I prefer that to 5. A lot of them over 20 minutes. We had a couple of them as well, more around that 13, 14 minute mark. I think this is a good balance for a show versus either 4 or 5 match shows or 20 match shows. And this was just, another match on the card, as you said, good for what it was. No one was expecting a 5-star classic out of a Nikki Bella who hasn't been wrestling actively for the last few years. And it continued Becky Lynch's reign and led on into the main event.
Yeah,
Which
I definitely think that I think the person that beats her for the title, I think it's whatever comes out of the whole Bailey is going crazy.
that is fair. I think Bailey's got to be on her horizon. Obviously, was during the whole Lyra stuff as well, and it makes sense to not drop that entirely. There is still a Becky Bailey payoff that never really happened. Lyra won that number one contendership match instead. Bailey comes out, maybe hits Lyra, maybe doesn't hit Lyra. There's juice in that tank for sure. Main event, fatal 4-way match for that World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Jey Uso, LA Knight. The Vision were banned from ringside thanks to their assault on Roman Reigns earlier in the night. And we had talked last week, we said, what if they get in a new member? It's an easy way to, maybe it was Roman that stopped them, or there was an equalizer. And in the closing minutes, it was CM Punk looking like he was going to get one up on Seth Rollins. And a hooded figure came on out to screw over CM Punk once again.
Yeah. Obviously, what's about to happen is probably the last thing I wanted to personally see. I haven't wanted to see it even because a lot of it was because I never wanted to see Punk again. So we're well beyond that now. Fine. But yeah, we're about to get the return of AJ.
What I liked AJ. I
She was all right. I always thought she was overrated by people, but she wasn't bad.
Yeah, I think it's obviously Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. They were already pretty close character-wise, and they'd shown them in a lot of stuff like WWE Unreal, hanging out. It's no secret they're together. There's no secret that they have children together. It makes sense, I guess, to bring them together again on the main roster. And as you say, Lynch and Rollins versus Punk and Lee makes the most sense. Whether we get to see that at WrestlePalooza coming up real soon, or whether we stretch it on out, do it at Crown Jewel, I don't know. We can't because Seth has championship. There we go. There's that answer. But that is the next hitch in the Punk Rollins storyline part of it.
And I bet she returns next week in Chicago. Because of course she.
Well, she's nearby.
Yeah.
She's just sitting there. Just happened to get a call.
She has a couch right there by the arena. I wonder if the championship belt is still in their fridge.
Quite possibly.
It's obvious. They added Becky. Got to have a woman to kind of neutralize that. The only one that really makes sense is CM Punk's wife, AJ Lee.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it's a long-term thing, if it's a one-off thing. There's a few different ways they can go with it, but on Raw, obviously Becky Lynch slapping CM Punk, it's pretty clear that that's where they're going. If they went anywhere else, I would be quite shocked, personally, but let's wait for the official announcement. But if we look at the other aspects, so we know Rollins and Lynch versus Punk and Lee coming up on the horizon. We keep talking about this War Games match. We've talked about the Vision versus the Good Guys. We've talked about Bloodline 2.0. Oh, sorry, the Bloodline and MFT. It's kind of amalgamating now, and we got obviously the Vision taking out Roman Reigns, and then on Raw, they try and take out Jey Uso until Jimmy comes and takes the save. LA Knight involved around in that as well. And I think the lines are starting to blur on what that War Games match might actually be at Survivor Series.
Well, for me, it's always with the on the Raw side it was always going to be just a group of the main eventers,
Mhm.
and so I kind of never counted on Jey Uso being involved in the Bloodline Civil War side because I figured he'd probably end up being part of this match because it makes sense. They're fighting over the title he used to have, and he has things that he's had to deal with the Vision. So it makes sense to put him on Punk side.
I just think with Jimmy coming out as well, obviously, it's his brother getting attacked, so it all makes sense. But he's also been heavily involved on the SmackDown side of stuff against MFT as well. And then to jump to SmackDown results, Sami Zayn coming out with the United States Championship uh, against Solo Sikoa, who's there with him. It's Jimmy Uso, and maybe he's just floating between and filling both roles. But I don't know. Are we gonna get a 5-5-5 instead? I don't think we've had that on the main roster yet. Maybe that's how we can squish it all together. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, let's talk about that title one. Sami Zayn, new US champion. How do you feel about that one?
Hey, I like me some Sami Zayn, so I'm interested in seeing how this plays out. If this is going to be another situation where it's he wins the title and then loses it right back.
Mhm.
But I, I'm very very interested because I feel like this is like a major step towards the SmackDown working. Uh, because where we've always had a male and a women's one, it just this year it just doesn't feel like there's any major women's storyline that warrants the second War Games match the way it
Hasn't
has in
stopped us before.
the past. True, but I think because of Liv Morgan, I think that they kind of just destroy any momentum they had for building a women's War Games.
Mhm.
So I think it is going to default to the MFT versus the uh, the original Bloodlines minus Jay and Roman because they have things that they have to deal with on the other side. But and they'll have to figure out who they get to add in. Uh, but it just feels like there's more to this than just it's got to be more than just a being included in the other your organ.
Yeah, I think it's like we know the direction, we just don't know the exact where every piece is going to fall. Especially with the most likely outcome being that there's two matches, and so now you're trying to form four teams. And the way everything is right now in that main event scene, Sammy obviously just being traded over, but there is a lot of cross pollination, whether that is family members across brand lines, whether that's people showing up on the other brand, messing with their champions, and we saw MFT showing up on Raw a little bit as well. So it's just exactly where everything is going to lay, which we'll know, I think, more as the shows go through, WrestlePalooza going through, and Crown Jewel after that. And then we can sort of focus up and fully see what do these War Games fields look like. Because I still think that can be a really amazing pay-per-view Survivor Series with those two matches and whatever combination those end up falling in. Well, it is roughly halfway through the show, so it is time to go to our theme of the week. And this week, it is the theme for Clash in Paris.
Oh my god.
And you're back to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. There is still three more matches from Clash in Paris to talk about. Let's talk WWE Tag Team Championship. The Wyatt Six came in with it. The Street Profits wanted it, but the Six ended up leaving with it.
Yeah, it was an all right match. I don't think um, that I think it's for what it was fine. I don't like that they had the White Six resorting to heel tactics. Aren't we supposed to like the White Six? Or are we unsure how we're supposed to feel at this?
Yeah, I'm currently trying to spin up SmackDown Hotel and see where they're meant to fall. Cause yeah, I'm also super confused. I feel like they came back, they were faces, we were cheering them. They were going like up against heels and Karrion Cross's group, tormenting the Miz. And then now they've sort of, I guess, in that SmackDown tag team scene, there's not super lines drawn sometimes with the teams. They all just sort of face off against everybody, and yeah, now they're using their numbers advantage to defeat the Street Profits, who, as far as I'm aware, are floating on the face side of things. So, does that start to begin to turn the Wyatt Six into heels? Are they just going to fit in that middling role where they'll go up against heels, they'll go up against faces, we'll cheer them even though they might not be the cleanest of tactics? Don't know. What we do know is that they will be holding those titles at least for a little while longer. Uh, Next up, Sheamus, Rusev. They went to war.
Yeah. I'm not sure where you can go from here with this. Because that was pretty much the kind of match you have at the end of a feud. The way it is.
Yeah, it was brutal. That was like, as you say, when we used to end feuds with Hell in Cell matches and stuff like that, where they throw everything at you. They go, we're gonna bring our best. There's gonna be weapons. There's gonna be destruction, and at the end of it, one man's gonna be standing tall. And yeah, it does feel like a feud ender. It feels like Rusev wins. Sheamus goes under, and Rusev ends up moving on to something, whether that's in the upper card or in the mid card. It feels like the feud's over, maybe for now.
Yeah. Since since he wasn't on Raw, this week, there's still things they could do. Maybe they'll have a segment next week, where they maybe acknowledge each other, and maybe it spins them off. Go from there into the tag team we thought maybe could happen. But yeah, I don't think they can do another match unless they somehow find a stipulation that could like just be this is the end.
It's also broke the tie as well. The only thing I worry about is just that, the Raw world is so busy. You've got the Vision, you've got, Punk, Uso, Knight, even Logan Paul up there. You've got Dominic holding the Intercontinental title, pulling off big feuds there, rubbing into the Judgment Day storyline, crossing over into AAA. Where do either of them go from here, Do you really see Rusev going up into the CM Punk stuff? No, not really. And you kind of just spin around. What is the spot after this banger that they just had? I don't know. I hope it's good though. We don't want to heat them up so much with this feud, heat them up with this match to just let them all cool down. I do hope we capitalize. I don't really personally know how. Maybe you got to give me a week to think about it, but I don't want to drop it. I want to strike while that iron is hot. And the last match that we haven't talked about in Clash in Paris, longest match of the night, John Cena, Logan Paul, Cena coming out on top.
Yeah, it was a pretty darn good match. I think matches like this is what we were expecting the entire time when it came to Cena's retirement. And it was very interesting that that Cena used the Style Splash as part of his finish to this match.
I think there was a few homages throughout the match. I think I saw Cena on the post show talking about how he can't wrestle everybody that he wants to in this last run, so he's able to throw back to them or give back to them during these matches. I think there was a zigzag in there and possibly an end of days as well. So like a fair few in there, but the AJ Styles one did stick out. Obviously, France loves AJ Styles. So they'd get to see him on the Raw after this, but they're always going to pop to anything AJ Styles related. So it definitely stood out as something that they did during this match. And I think you're right. I think since SummerSlam, I don't know if the heel turn sort of deflated it. I don't know if the Cena had some filming commitments or some Peacemaker commitments that he had to do. But since SummerSlam, he has turned it on when it comes to this run. The banger with Cody, the banger here. He's having tag matches on SmackDown. And that's not, rubbishing his matches with Punk or Orton or anything like that, but he's stepped it up. It's like he knows he's got 8 dates left after Clash. He's going to put his all into it, and he's going to just give you the 8 best dates that he can. And I'm excited for it. I've seen some people on the internet going like, will he extend it? I don't think so. I think we've got that Saturday night main event in mid-December in Boston, pretty much locked in. John Cena's farewell show. 7 other dates between there. We know WrestlePalooza he'll be at, probably going up against Brock Lesnar. We know he'll be at Survivor Series, and we'll know that he's going to be currently booked for a Raw and a SmackDown before WrestlePalooza. So really we only got 3 dates to play with, and I just want to see as much of that Cena that was at Clash in Paris against Logan Paul as possible.
Yeah, we have 9 total dates. We know that the retirement match is pretty much set in stone for the middle of December. And I'll be 100% honest. I think this business has for years said never say no. And I think John Cena is as close to you can get to never saying never. Because I think Cena is the kind of guy that will stick with it. I think he's realizes he can't do this for much longer at the level that he wants. And he wants to go out while people will still say, hey, he could still go, but I think we're fine with saying goodbye. Not unlike the person he just took the most world titles reigns from.
Yeah. I think that when you have a whole year based around your retirement tour, you can say Goldberg wasn't happy with his one match, or Kurt Angle wasn't happy with his opponent at WrestleMania, but Cena did have a whole year. He's told stories throughout that year, some hits, some misses, and it's going to culminate in a big final send-off that I'm sure that entire Saturday night's main event will be focused or themed around John Cena, and it feels like a good little ribbon. He'll show up at WrestleManias, he'll make appearances, and he might even, give a couple people attitude adjustments, but I do like it when, someone stays retired, when they say they're going to retire, but who knows? It's John Cena. If he pops up in a year, does one off, I ain't going to complain.
Yeah.
We got just a little bit more time to talk about it, so let's talk about Dominic Mysterio, AJ Styles, that Intercontinental Championship match, the unofficial 7th match on the card. It happened on Raw, and it was thanks to El Grande Americano that Mysterio is still champion and most likely will be heading into Worlds Collide as Intercontinental Champion still.
Yeah. I think it was a phenomenal match, to be honest. I think Dominic I think he's elevating his game every time he goes out there. And I think that eventually when he flips the switch and he turns face, I think he's going to become one of the biggest stars in the company. It's just a matter of when they pull that for him. But the the Intercontinental Championship, I think he's done quite a bit of work. I at this point, I kind of think maybe El Grande Americano's the one that beats him for the title, and
Ooh.
that's when we get El Grande Americano getting unmasked or unmasking himself, revealing it was Chad Gable the entire time, and that's how he wins the Intercontinental title.
Maybe. Maybe that is what we see. I do think that El Grande Americano is going to come up to a crescendo soon. Worlds Collide coming up again. Could be any time. But I will look forward to seeing how it all spins out. But that is all we have time to talk for tonight. It's been great talking to you.
Bye, B.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D Upper, Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D Upper, YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling R&D Up. And we will catch you next week.